Alright guys, Balls96, but the O is a 0. What are we doing in today's video? Well, if you haven't figured it out from the title, I am grading every team's best local lad. Now, I have tried to go with the player who was born or bred as close as possible to the stadium, okay? Some players might be missing out because they might just be a couple miles further away and there could be some surprises in there. I've tried to do the best I can with locality and hopefully you all enjoy it, so please do stick around and watch the rest of this video. Arsenal, Bukayo Saka, A-star, starting the ranking with a bang, and not only one of the best players in this list, but one of the best players in the country. Despite only being 22 years of age, Bukayo Saka has been around for a while now, actually breaking into the team whilst Unai Emery was manager of Arsenal, if you can believe it. I guess his reign at the helm of the club did bring some good, with 213 games under his belt already and having scored 54 and registered 53 assists for the Arsenal first team. Saka has always been a vital part of this team since day one and has produced the results consistently throughout that time. Not only has he produced for club, but he's also produced for country with 11 goals in 32 appearances already. I would highlight his strengths, but that would imply that he has weaknesses, and he's just such an all-rounded excellent player that there are very few of those. Speed, dribbling, ball control, passing, and a brilliant finisher of the ball. He has everything in his game that you'd want from your winger. Saka has so much of his career still to come, and you would think that he is only going to get better as he progresses. Hell would freeze over before Saka gets put any lower than an A-star in this ranking. Aston Villa, Jacob Ramsey, B. On to the next team now, and the next player in Jacob Ramsey, a player whose attributes I really admire. The older brother to Aaron Ramsey, who bagged himself a big move to Burnley last summer. Ramsey is another 22-year-old who has been around for a little while now, having broke into the Villa first team properly in the 2020-21 season, if you ignore the very rare appearance and cup competitions prior to that. Ramsey was looking like he was on his way to being the next big English midfielder, but his meteoric rise has slowed down to a steady ascent in the past year, having still not managing to break into the England squad as most would have expected. Still, he is only 22 years of age and still he is a superb player. 122 appearances for Aston Villa, with 21 of those coming this season. He is clearly very much in the plans there, and I don't blame them. A powerful runner with the ball and a real direct style of play, he's an exciting talent to watch. If he can bring back the pace of his progression with which we witnessed in his first couple of seasons, then I have no doubt he'd be an A-star in this ranking in the future, but for now I'm putting him in at B. But let me know in the comments if you agree with that assessment. Bournemouth, Dominic Solanke, A. Okay, so yes, I know Dominic Solanke wasn't exactly born in Bournemouth, but being from Reading, he is actually the player in their first team closest to being a local lad. Even their under-21 players who are on the edge of the main squad aren't local, so I don't have a lot of options really. Although he might not entirely fit my quota, it does work out nicely for this list as he is entirely their best player this season. Being on the books of Chelsea and of Liverpool in his youth and early career, he had so much potential, and after winning the Golden Boot in 2017 with England at the Under-20s World Cup, which they won, it looked as though he was going to become one of England's leading strikers. Unfortunately, it didn't quite turn out that way, not making only a cameo appearance in the Champions League for Chelsea and only managing one goal in 27 appearances for Liverpool led to a transfer to Bournemouth, where at the time it seemed Liverpool hadn't gotten rid of Deadwood for a large chunk of cash. Fast forward a few years with Bournemouth and he managed a huge 44 goals in the Championship across 2 seasons before an important role last season, and now finally hitting the heights of his potential all those years ago, currently with 14 goals and 3 assists from 27 appearances. He must feel on top of the world at the minute, and a big money move has been touted. Hopefully for Solanke he can continue this tremendous improvement, because I have him at an A for now and he could go on to be even higher. Brentford, Ethan Pinnock, B. Although he plays for the Jamaican national team, he was actually born in Lambeth, which is less than 10 miles from Brentford, making Ethan Pinnock a local by birth. A stalwart of the Brentford defence since his transfer to them back in 2019, he's been an ever-present, ever-dependable beast in that backline, and no matter who his defensive partner has been, he has always been able to combine well with them to make it incredibly hard for opposition teams to break them down on most occasions. I do massively appreciate when a player comes up the league system and is able to adapt to that level despite the challenges put in front of them. Pinnock was playing for Dulwich Hamlet in the Isthmian League, the 7th tier of English football, less than 8 years ago when he was well into his career at 23 years of age. In that time, he has not only managed to get up to the Premier League, but he cemented himself in this league and in his national team. What a fantastic achievement for a player who is now so important to this Brentford team. I really respect the guy and think he is vital to this team, so he's going in at B. Brighton, Lewis Dunk, A. The big man at the back, the captain of Brighton Football Club, and I think it is fair to say, local legend. What a player Lewis Dunk has been over the years, and similarly to Ethan Pinnock, he has been one of those men to move up through the leagues, but the difference being is that Lewis Dunk has done it all the way with Brighton. From League One football over a decade ago, Brighton and Lewis Dunk have progressed up the football ladder into where they find themselves now, playing in Europe and consistently finishing in the top end of the Premier League. Incredible achievement for both club and player. After the first couple of seasons in the Premier League, Lewis Dunk was named captain, and it is fair to say that he has taken that in stride. At 32 years of age, he is still one of the first names on that team sheet and has even worked his way into the England setup. A goal-scoring centre-back who leads his local team week in, week out, he's got to be an A grading. Burnley, Jay Rodriguez, D. Our first D grading of the list, and it feels a little harsh on a man who in the past has been an absolute diamond for his local team, but we are in the twilight years of his career and he's finding game time less and less. Looking back at his earlier years with Burnley and during his moves away with Southampton and West Brom, and oh boy, what a player he was. A goal machine in the second tier and a memorable season with Southampton back in the 2013-14 season, where he bagged 15 goals and 3 assists in the Premier League, was the highlight, bagging an England cap in the process. His career is winding down now, but he does still prove to be an important member of the Burnley squad behind the scenes and on the pitch, grabbing a couple of important goals so far this season. Right now, I have to put him in at D, but what ranking do you think prime Jay Rodriguez should be getting here? Chelsea, Raheem Sterling, A star. I was surprised when doing my research on this one because players like Reece James, Levi Colwill and Conor Gallagher were coming to mind, but none of them were actually born or brought up around Chelsea. In fact, the player born closest to Chelsea was surprisingly Noni Madueke, but that was still over 15 miles away, so I went a bit deeper and found that although he was born in Jamaica, Raheem Sterling did of course move over to London at a very young age. And where was it that he moved to? Just 8 miles away from Chelsea, so I'm having that one here. Without even progressing with the rest of this list, I can be certain that Raheem Sterling is the most accomplished player who is going to come up here. A world-class player for a number of years across stints at Liverpool, Manchester City and Chelsea, and it was during his absolute best time at City where he could have been considered one of the best wingers in the world. 82 caps for England makes him the 16th most capped England player ever, and with 20 goals for the national team, he has proven on the world stage just how incredibly gifted he is. Still only at 29 years of age, he has a few more years yet at the top, and I'm sure he'll add more records to his belt. An A-star is an absolute must here, but I'm interested to know your thoughts on Sterling currently. Do you think he'll ever recapture that Manchester City form with this Chelsea team? Make sure to let me know. Crystal Palace, Nathaniel Clyne, C. Having been at Crystal Palace at the start of his career, Nathaniel Clyne has been back there for a couple of seasons now, feasibly could end his career at his local team. The soon-to-be 33-year-old was a real talent in his prime and is still playing regularly at the top level. Clyne probably came to the wide consciousness when playing for Southampton in that incredibly exciting team that had the likes of Adam Lallana, Ricky Lambert, Dejan Lovren and Sadio Mane, all of which share something in common with Clyne, that they all moved on to Liverpool, and for a while there Clyne was the main right back and he was an important part of a building team. Fast forward to now and he has 437 senior club appearances to his name and 14 international caps to boot. The lad has had a fantastic career. Strong tackler of the ball and a senior head on his shoulders, he is still a big part of the Palace squad, and although he isn't the player he once was, I think his career and the fact he is still readily involved earns him a C grading. Everton, James Garner, B. Despite having come through the Manchester United Academy after joining them at the age of 8, James Garner is actually a Scouser and is really the only Scouser in the Everton senior squad currently, which is in complete contrast to the usual, as they tend to have a couple of Scousers littered through the squad. But the recent departures of Tom Davis and Anthony Gordon within the past year altered that. A lot was talked up about James Garner when he was coming through the United Academy, and a lot was expected of him, particularly after some incredible performances for Nottingham Forest in their promotion pushing campaign when he was there on loan. But at such a young age, on his return to United, he never really had a chance of pushing into the Manchester United midfield, and a big money move to Everton presented itself. A difficult first season has developed into his best season at the top level so far this time around, having played nearly every minute available under Sean Dyche in all competitions. He has proven to be one of the major cogs in that Everton squad. The third top performer this season behind James Tarkowski and Dwight McNeil. I'm sure it means a lot to the Everton supporters to have a Scouser in the middle of that park, and still at a young age, there is a lot of room for progression further. One of the better players currently in this list, he's comfortably in the B grading here. Fulham, Alex Iwobi, A. Although not born in England, he did move over at a very young age and was bred closer to Fulham than any of his teammates, which makes him the most local player that I could pick. Starting his career with Arsenal, things have changed rather drastically for Alex Iwobi from then to now, playing at the time as a very attack-minded winger, and with the England youth teams, he has now adapted into a formidable box-to-box midfielder and has played a massive 63 times for the Nigerian national team, whether it be in central midfield or on the wing. The work ethic and amount of coverage on that pitch that Alex Iwobi puts in every single game is a real joy for the common football fan. After a big money move to Fulham in the summer, he has played in near enough every single match of their campaign, minus the AFCON gap of course, and has been vital for them, being tied for the second place top scorer in the team this season and with the 5th highest average match rating in the squad. He's one of the first names on that team sheet with his performances in that aforementioned AFCON and his team's success getting to the final in it. I think Alex Iwobi is more than deserving of an A grading in this list. And do you know what this channel is deserving of? Or at least I hope it is, more subscribers. So just whilst you're watching this video, if you could please take a split moment to click that subscribe button, you'd be massively supporting the channel and you'd be helping me to make more videos just like this. Liverpool, Trent Alexander-Arnold, a star. Liverpool are currently bringing out some of the best young talent that they have done in a long time, with the new boys like Lewis Kumas and Jadon Dance making appearances recently in the senior squad. The future is looking bright. Aside from that, you have Curtis Jones, who would be the top choice for most of the teams in this list if he was local to them, but there is of course only one man who is the right pick for Liverpool, and that is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Despite having been around for a long time now and being the vice captain of his boyhood team, he is still only 25 years of age, and the 302 appearances that he has made for such a massive team as Liverpool so soon in his career is out of this world. Although he was not a right back in his youth career, he has spent virtually the entirety of his senior career in that position and has completely revolutionised it. Haters give him slack for not being as solid defensively, but if you look at his defensive stats, they're actually better than most, and it is only really a select few with better numbers than him in that position. And then when you add his playmaking and attacking attributes to that, there is no question for me that he is the best right back in the world. Trent has registered 18 goals and 82 assists in all competitions for the senior team, which is 100 from right back. When you're registering numbers like that for my team, I'll abide by a couple of defensive frailties all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. Put some respect on Trent's name, because I certainly am with this A-star grading. Luton, Alfie Doughty, B. Having been born and bred in Charlton, Alfie Doughty is easily the most local player within the Luton side, and what a good player for them he is. After starting his career at Charlton, he has progressively moved up, having transferred to Stoke City before then moving on to Luton less than a couple of years ago. With 26 appearances in the league so far this season, he is one of the more consistent performers in the side, and although Luton haven't exactly been the most free-flowing team in front of goal, he has contributed to 7 goals for them, one of which being a goal himself from a wing-back position, which is so vital for this side. Luton are battling with everything they've got to try and stay in the Premier League in their maiden season in the top flight, and if they are to achieve that, the likes of Doughty need to keep performing to the top of their game. One of the more relied on players in the team and playing near enough every game, I'm going to give him a B. Manchester City, Phil Foden, A-star. The last of the A-star picks here, which might bother the fans of the teams yet to come, but when you look at it, Bukayo Saka, Raheem Sterling, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Phil Foden, there's no debate, surely. Phil Foden has been an absolute sensation since first breaking into the City team after a careful bedding in process under Pep Guardiola, and he has now gone on to become one of the best players for one of the best teams in the world and for one of the better national teams in the world. A wand of a left foot, world-class passing ability, mind-boggling first touch and dribbling to make you go, ooh. Foden is an absolute artist on the ball. 258 appearances for the treble winners with 129 goal contributions in all competitions. Still somehow only at the age of 23, I can't express just how good of a footballer he is. Currently having the best season of his career with this level of progression, you're almost certainly looking at a future Ballon d'Or winner. Manchester United, Marcus Rashford, A. So, remember when I said that fans of teams yet to come might be bothered by the fact that their local player isn't getting in the top grading? Yeah, I definitely had this entry in mind. There is no doubt that Marcus Rashford is an absolutely exceptional footballer. Yes, he can be inconsistent, but that is based off of the expectations following his incredibly high standards that his footballing ability and performances when he is on form has created. 393 games for the second most successful team in English football with 130 goals and 74 assists to his name. Still only 26 years of age, Rashford is right up there with some of the best talent that this nation has to offer. Splitting opinions down the middle with that inconsistency, but it cannot be denied that Rashford is a real talent if he could put out the performances that we saw from him last season on a more regular basis. Then he will go into his prime as one of the best attackers around, but for now and with the parameters of the list, he is going to have to go in at A. But let me know whether you think he deserves a spot in the top grading, and if so, who would you swap him in for? Newcastle United, Sean Longstaff, C. This entry could very soon change to Lewis Miley or Elliot Anderson, with both being local boys of Newcastle, but they are both still very early in their career. And I think it will be a huge disservice to Sean Longstaff if I were to pick one of them right now, so I'm sticking with him. Newcastle born and bred, Longstaff came into the first team with his brother from a young age, but unlike his brother, he has managed to stick it out and hold down a place in this ever-improving team. With the money that they have, I am unsure how long he will be able to hold down such an ever-present position in the squad. But for now, he is a big part of the team. And you know what? He's actually been quite productive in front of goal for them too. 4 goals and 2 assists from 24 games for a central midfielder is really quite a good return, particularly for a midfielder holding a balance between supporting the defence and the attack. A good Premier League player, he has earned his spot in the C grading. Nottingham Forest, Ryan Yates, C. Another local lad here, and one who has come through the youth team there, and despite promotion to the Premier League and an Argos level conveyor belt of players coming in and out of that team, Ryan Yates has managed to hold his place in the squad throughout. A vital player in the team during their time in the Championship, he does continue to feature in the majority of games for a team battling to stay in the Premier League. If you want passion and a real battling attitude from your team's homegrown players, then you'll get that with Ryan Yates, a player who wears his heart on his sleeve, and with the talent to match, he is a superb individual to feature in this list, and he is going to occupy a C grading. Sheffield United, Andre Brooks, D. Playing a healthy amount of minutes for his boyhood club in the Premier League. Although this may be a season to forget for Sheffield United, it certainly isn't a season to forget for Andre Brooks. In a breakthrough campaign for the young lad, he's been earning plaudits for his versatility and work rate, having been deployed in central midfield as well as his more natural wing role. Brooks has managed 13 appearances in the league so far this campaign, and with Sheffield United more than certainly doomed to go back to the Championship this season, they would be best placed to continue giving him more game time as we enter the last 10 games of the season, so that they can utilise him in a squad that is going to experience a lot of change in the summer. A very good young player with a bright future ahead. He's among some top established talent on this list, so right now he has to go in the bottom ranking, but definitely watch this space. Spurs, Alfie Whiteman, D. If this was last season, then we are having an entirely different conversation with Harry Kane, but unfortunately that is not the case, and I've had to go for 4th choice goalkeeper Alfie Whiteman. I thought I at least had Oliver Skip to choose from, but no. Although close, he can't really be classed as a complete local lad, whereas Alfie Whiteman is Tottenham born and bred. A 25-year-old goalkeeper who's only ever managed 1 senior appearance for his local club and 34 appearances for Degerfors in Sweden during a loan spell a couple of seasons ago. I really don't have a lot to go off here, and he doesn't come close to anyone else in this list. I'm sure he's a decent player, but he has to go rock bottom of this list. West Ham, Ben Johnson, C. Mikel Antonio was a close contender and would have been a high profile player to discuss, but for proximity, Ben Johnson is most definitely obviously West Ham. Having been on the scene for a while now, Ben Johnson has proved to be a reliable squad player for his boyhood club since his breakthrough season in 2020. He had played the odd game before then, but that was the first time he built up a real run of games with the first team, and although he hasn't quite managed yet to solidify himself as a starter, he has been an ever-present in the team, managing over 100 appearances for the Irons. A solid defender with versatility, allowing him to fill in pretty much across the entire back line. Johnson is the type of player who will put in a shift whatever he is asked to do, and for David Moyes, well, that's his bread and butter when it comes to his players, isn't it? I like Johnson and I'm going to gift him a C grading. Wolves, Kem Campbell, D. We finish with no disrespect to the player, but an absolute damn squib of an entry. When doing my research on this list, some teams proved to be difficult and I've had to go from different avenues with a couple of players, but on this one, Wolves left me in the mud. Not a single player of the senior squad was born or brought up even remotely close to Wolverhampton, with Craig Dawson being the closest, and he was born in Rochdale, nearly 100 miles away. So I've had to look at not only the young players but the on-loan players, and I landed at the feet of Kem Campbell, a 21-year-old attacking midfielder currently on his second loan spell this season with Wycombe Wanderers in League One after spending the first half of the season at Charlton. All in all, he has managed 17 appearances for both clubs this season with 2 goals and 2 assists. It isn't the sort of form at that level that would make you think he is going to make it at Wolves in the Premier League. Best of luck to him, and hopefully he does reach that goal in his future, but he's certainly filling the last D spot. And there we are, guys. If you liked what you watched, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe, and to check me out across all my other socials. I am on Twitch, where I do all of my streaming, X, Instagram, TikTok and YouTube, where you're watching this video, all under the same handle, Bolts96 for the O0. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.